Good morning, everyone. Hello, hello. It's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Design. So thanks so much for joining me today. So today we are going to play around with the October Paper Pumpkin Kit. So the kit is called Ho Ho Ho. So it's all about Santa and some really cool stamp images that were in that kit. Of course, some cool card ideas. So I'm going to show you some alternate card ideas. I have 4 of them here that I'll just kind of walk you through. And even if you don't have the paper pumpkin kit or you don't have this cute little Santa image that I used, you can still recreate these cards with any supplies that you have on hand. So I'm going to walk you through how to do that. So good morning, everybody. And I'm going to take myself off camera and just let me know if you can still hear me. I'm hoping that you can. So just let me know. I got a new thing today. All right. So can you guys still hear me? Just leave me a comment. Let me know that you can still hear me. Good morning. Good morning, Linda. Hello, everybody. Julie, Lori. Awesome. All right. Yes. Okay, you can hear me. So these are the cards that I am going to share, and I had a lot of fun with this particular image in the stamp set. Oh, thank you, thank you. I'm glad you can hear. So I had a lot of fun with this image in the stamp set. I have a couple more card ideas I'm going to share with you. I did a total of 8, but I'll just walk you through 4 of them because the other ones are kind of similar to this one. And then I'll get all of the card ideas out on my blog after I'm done with the live. So, first, what I'm going to do before I take you through these card ideas, let me just move these out of the way. I'm going to put them in order so I can find them as I go through. So, if you didn't get the kit, I'm going to show you just some of the cards that were in the kit, and I decided to make the entire kit. So, sometimes I'll take little pieces from the kit and I'll use them to create alternate ideas. But I really loved the cards from this kit. So, there were a total of 9. So, there's 3 of this particular design. And then I made the other 3. So, here's 6 now. So this is the second design. And then this last design is just really, I think this is my favorite design. I just really like how they did this. So these were the designs from the kit. So I created all 9 cards, used all the supplies in the kit to create these 9 cards. Um, so that's what I wanted to show you was the kit cards first. And of course, there were some coordinating envelopes and things like that. But then I took the exclusive stamp set. So let me show you the stamp set. So this is what the stamp set looks like. So it had this adorable little Santa image and then some other really fun images in here. Like I said, the cards that I created, I really just focused on Santa because I thought he was cute. So that's what we're going to focus on today. So the very first alternate card that I made had to do with Santa and his little belt. So I like creating a Santa suit or a Santa belt with, it's very easy to do. So I'll show you how to do that. But I just thought it was really cute to put Santa above and below this little belt to create the first card. I just have to grab a piece of paper here. So So what I started out with is just a 3 3/4 by 5-inch piece of white cardstock, and the belt piece is actually um, let's see, it's 1 inch wide. So the belt is going to go right across the center of this piece. So it's 1 inch wide. So I tried to keep Santa above and below where I was going to put this belt. So let me just line this up on my grid paper here. And we'll just kind of go above and below this 3-inch section. And I used the same ink that was in the kit. So the kit came with some early espresso ink. So that's what I used to stamp my little Santa. So I'm just going to stamp him above and below this line. And so I'm just stamping with the early espresso ink. And so, I just kind of like to off center my Santa a little bit. Let's see, let's turn him this way. And then this one will go this direction, this direction. There we go. All right, so that's how I stamped the Santa. And then I just use my Stampin' Blends to color Santa in. So it's pretty easy to color him in. I'm just using some real red ink. So this is Stampin' Blends. You guys know I love my Stampin' Blends. But I just took the dark real red and just colored in the hat. And so I know this looks like a lot of coloring, but it actually is not, because you're only coloring the hat and then you're adding a little bit of color to the face. So I'll just go ahead and do this. So you can see it's not that hard to color. Now, again, if you don't have this particular kit, you can still use this design. I'll give you some tips for how to use this design. If you have like a little Santa image in a different stamp set, then just use that. And if you don't have a Santa image, I'll show you a different design where you really won't need it. So, all right, so we'll turn this. So the one that takes the longest is coloring the Santa hat. The rest goes pretty easy. And as you can see, I like to turn my image as I'm coloring. Okay, so that's the little hat. And then I just added a little bit of ivory to the face. So I'm using an ivory Stampin' Blend. So you just kind of add that across here. And then we just got one more. So did you guys get this kit? Let me know in the comments who got this kit and what you thought of it. And then the last thing I did is just add a little bit of Flirty Flamingo to the nose, and then I just kind of added a little bit to each side of the cheeks here. And that's really it for coloring. So, I use the early espresso ink. A lot of times it's recommended that you use, the black ink, the Memento ink when you're using stamping blends. But I don't seem to have trouble using just regular ink and doing the coloring. Sometimes the coloring, these alcohol markers that I'm using, the Stampin' Blends, sometimes they will make your regular ink run, but I haven't had that problem. I think if you let it dry long enough, it'll be okay. All right, so that's what our Santas look like. Oh, you did get it, but you haven't had a chance. Okay, well then I'm going to give you some ideas here today. All right, so the next thing I did is I just adhered this to a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of black cardstock. So we'll do that. And then we'll adhere this to the card front. So I'm just using real red cardstock for the base of my card. And it's just your standard card base. So it's the 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4.25. That's my card base. So then I just cut a 1 inch by 4 inch piece. So I kind of ran it to the black cardstock on, the matting that I put on there. So that's just going to go right in the center. So it's 1 by 4. And then to create the rest of the belt, you just need some square pieces. So you can use glitter paper or foil. I used some foil here for this one. But so this is 1 inch here, this piece. So my black piece is 1 by 1. And then my silver foil piece is 1.25 by 1.25. So it's just a 1/4 inch larger than my black. And that's what creates the belt. So we'll add this. Give that a second to dry. And then we will add some dimensionals. So that's really how you create the belt. So you can just cut those little square pieces and create this cute little belt. So I like to do that with just red cardstock. All you need is a piece of red cardstock and just run your belt straight across. You don't even need the Santas and all this stuff in the background. You can just make a belt card, and it's really simple. So I have that out on my website. So I will link to that. I'll link to that out on my website when I put these card ideas out there. So that's the first card. And then on the inside, I just decorated it. I put the greeting on the inside or the sentiment, and then just added another little Santa on the inside. So that is the first card that I have for you. All right. And then the second card is another Santa card. So let me show you this one. So this one I decided to do as a window card. So I cut this circular shape out in the center of my red cardstock. And so Santa's actually on the inside. So I'll show you how to do this one. And so this is kind of what I was talking about with the belt. So let's pretend like I didn't cut this. So you can actually just, if you want to create a Santa card, you can actually just put a belt right across the center. Oops. Let me grab this here. So if you don't have this image, you can actually just create a little belt like this right across the center. And then you can add your little greeting on the outside. A lot of times I'll just do a little bit of paper tearing up at the top with a piece of white cardstock, and you have a really cute card, obviously without the circle in the middle. So there's lots of ways that you can create Santa's belt. I got a lot of fuzz here. Hang on a second. Okay, so what I did is I actually took one of the Stylish Shapes dies, and I just have a piece of red cardstock adhered to my black cardstock. So the red cardstock is 4 inches by 5.25. So I adhered that first, and then I opened this card up and I ran it through my embossing machine and cut out this center piece here. So it cuts right through the black cardstock and the red cardstock. And it creates my little window for this card. So then the next thing I did is I just took one of the scalloped dies. So this is from the Layering Circles dies. So I took a scallop die and I took that same oval, that same circle, and I just laid it in the center of this die, and I ran it through my embossing machine. I used some black cardstock. And so by layering the two together, it creates this little circle piece, and then it creates this fun little scallop that I can use on the outside of my card just to kind of decorate it. So that's how I created that little, this little piece to decorate the front of my card. So I'm going to put that on there right away. So that's the nice thing about the layering circle dies is you can layer them together, and you can even layer them together with the stylish shapes dies. Those fit inside some of those scallops. So this is just going to go on the front, and you can see I have glitter like everywhere. I'm using up some of my old glitter paper that seems to shed everywhere. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay a piece of white cardstock on the inside, and I'm going to lay it kind of where it will go once I'm ready to adhere it. And then I'm going to close my card front, and I'm going to take my image and I'm going to stamp it right in the center of the circle. And so now I can go ahead and adhere it. I like to do it that way, just in case I don't stamp it correctly. You know, if I miss a spot or something, I know that happens, then I can restamp it if I have to. But so now I should be able to adhere this, and Santa should be peeking through. Let's move this up a little bit. There we go. So Santa's peeking through. So that's how I created that. And then I just colored Santa again. So let me add some color here so that you can see. So that's what I really like about this image is that it's easy to color, and he's so cute. I just really like how they did this little Santa image because he's just really cute. And then we'll add our little pink. So if you're just joining me, the colors are real red that I'm using, a little bit of ivory, and right now I'm adding the Flirty Flamingo just to give him some rosy cheeks. All right. So now I can just add my little belt. So for this belt, I just made it a little bit thinner. So this is 3/4 inches wide and it's 4 inches long. And so I'll just add this piece. This is just black cardstock. So we can just add that on the bottom. And then my little glitter piece. So I have glitter paper here. That's what's shedding all over. I have a lot of old glitter paper. So that piece is just 1 by 1. And then my little black piece on the inside is 3/4 by 3/4. And so that's how I created that one. So let's add one of these. Oh, it's shedding. You can tell it's shedding because it's coming off. Let's add a little bit more glue. So the new glimmer paper doesn't do this, which is really nice. I know I just stuck it to the thing. So Stampin' Up's new glimmer paper does not shed like this, which is probably what I should have used, but I grabbed the old stuff. Okay, so there's the belt. And then you can add some little enamel dots. I used some little black enamel dots just to add a couple buttons for the suit. But that's really it. It's really easy to create a little window card, and then you can put any image in there. You know, if you have the Santa, you can put the Santa in there. If you have some other image, you can put a different image in there, whatever works for you. All right, so those are the Santa suit cards. I'm gonna put that to the side. And then the next thing I did is I just kind of played around with some of the color combinations from the kit. So in the kit, they had, let me just bring this back. They had kind of the red and the crumb cake together. And I just thought it was kind of a fun, little elegant, kind of rustic style Christmas card. So that's what I have here. So I started with a piece of crumb cake cardstock for the base of the card. And then I just embossed it with the Merry Melody embossing folder just to add a little bit of texture here. And then I cut a couple additional pieces. So I have like a 2 by 5.5 inch piece of designer paper. Excuse me. I got the sneezes this morning. So I have a 2 by 5.5 inch piece of designer paper. This is from the Santa Express Designer Series paper pack. And then I have a little 1/4 inch by 5.5 inch piece of early espresso. So I'm just going to add these right to the card front. And I think I cut them a little bit longer, so I might have to trim them. So this is a fun design that I've used before, but I really like this design because it really kind of calls attention to your focal point. So I am going to just trim this off a little bit here. I have just a little bit longer. There we go. All right, so that is our basic design. And then the next thing I did is just add a piece of vellum because I like using my vellum. It kind of mutes everything. So this is just a 2 by 4 inch piece of vellum. So we'll add that. And you don't have to worry too much about the glue because it'll all get covered up with Santa and some other things. So we'll add that. And then these wonderful snowflakes. I have some little snowflakes. That's actually what they're called, is wonderful snowflakes. So that little snowflake will go right up here. So we'll just add a little bit of glue and pop that there. All right, so I'm going to set that to the side and then we'll stamp our little Santa again. So as you can see, I was really on a roll with Santa. So this time I just stamped him on a circular shape so that I could create that little focal point in the center there. You know, it doesn't seem like it takes very long to color this guy unless you're on a live video. Then it seems to take a little bit longer. So we'll color this in. So real red, ivory, and flirty flamingo. Those are the blends that I'm using. So there's Santa. So we'll adhere Santa to this little circular shape, our little scallop shape. So the scallop shape is the same one I used to create the window on the last card. So I just cut a piece of early espresso cardstock so that I had the little Santa. And then the last thing I did is just stamp a little greeting here. So just kind of using some of the images from the paper pumpkin. Let's do this one over here. And then where's my other one? There we go. So then I just stamp these on some crumb cake cardstock, and then you can just cut them out by hand. So it's pretty easy to cut these out, especially since this is straight. It's a straight cut, although I'm not doing a very straight cut. So there's one. And then the Mary, I just kind of went around it with my scissors. I like creating these little matted type of greetings. So you don't cut directly on the stamped, words. You just kind of bubble it and cut around it. I guess bubble it is the only word I can come up with. But that's kind of the latest trend is just kind of, cutting around your image. If you like to fussy cut, if you don't like to fussy cut, there's other images in the set that you can use that you can just stamp on, you know, regular cardstock and just add them. You don't have to bubble cut like I am. All right, so that's the cutting of those. Let me move some of this stuff. So let's put our little guy together here. We'll add a couple dimensionals to the back. So like I said, it's a pretty simple design and you can use, whatever images you have on hand. You don't have to use the Santa. If you have the Santa, he's really cute, but you don't have to use him. All right, so we'll add our Christmas greeting down here on the bottom. And then we'll add this little Mary image right there. So I'm going to add a dimensional in between here. Tuck that in there. Tuck it underneath. There we go. And then we'll add some glue. We'll add some glue right there. And actually I can add a dimensional underneath here too. All right, so that is the basic design. And then I just added, some little enamel dots here and a little bit of twine. And that's how I came up with kind of that rustic style. And then on the inside, of course, I kept stamping the little Santa just to kind of decorate the inside of the cards. So really fun, very simple, and just really cute. All right, this last card idea just features a fun way to use up some scraps. So that's what I'm going to be doing with this one. And let me get my pieces here. All right, so what I have here is first I have a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of shaded spruce cardstock. And then I have a 3 3/4 by 5 inch piece of white cardstock. So I'm just going to adhere these together right away. So I just created, a little 1/4 inch matting, basically is what I did. And then I used up some of my scrap pieces of designer paper. So I'll tell you what I have here. So this little piece is just 3/4 inches wide by 2 inches. And then the next piece, I'll have to tell you, is 2 by 3 3/4. So this is 2 by 3 3/4. And then these two pieces are the same size. So they are 1 3/8 by 2 1/4. So 1 3/8 by 2 1/4. And that's really the design. So you just adhere all these pieces. And I know you guys have as many scraps as I do. So this is a great way to just kind of use up your scraps, especially these little pieces. Sometimes I tend to want to throw those away, but they fit nicely on a card like this. So you can just adhere these pieces right onto that white cardstock. And I just left a little bit of white cardstock showing in between. And that's your basic design. So we can adhere this to our card front. I'm just using white cardstock for the base of my card. So we'll add that. And that's our background. And then I stamped a little greeting on a 1/2 inch wide by 3 3/4 inch piece of white cardstock. So that'll go on our card in just a minute. But I have to stamp my Santa one more time. So I'm going to just stamp him on a scrap piece of paper. I could stamp him directly on the circle, but I wanted just a little bit more depth and dimension on this card. So I'm stamping him on a scrap piece of paper. And then I'm just going to cut him out with my scissors. So again, if you don't like to fussy cut, um, then you can just stamp it right on that circle shape that we're going to be using for this card. So can you guys tell I liked the little Santa image in this set? It's cute. All right, so that's our little Santa. And then again, you can just fussy cut. This is a pretty easy image to just kind of fussy cut around. I like to just turn my paper and hold my scissors kind of still and just turn the paper. It makes it a little bit easier to get around some of these circular parts of this image. And it actually gives you just cleaner cuts if you just kind of move your paper around instead of the scissors. And you can see I don't actually cut directly on the image. So I leave just a little bit of matting around the image because I find when you cut directly on the lines, then you can tell how uneven your cuts are. At least mine, how uneven mine are. So when you cut kind of around the lines, then you can't see that. It's not as obvious. It's not as obvious that I cut crooked. Let's just say that. Okay, so there's our little Santa. So let's finish making our card here. So of course I added a little bit of vellum. So I have a 2 2 1/4 by 3 1/2 inch piece of vellum. So I'm just going to add that right in the center. So we'll add that. And then I have some shaded spruce cardstock this time that I used for my little scalloped circle. And then this is from the Stylish Shapes dies because it's got that little stitching on there. And so we will add this right to the center here. And then we'll add our little Santa. And then we'll add our greeting. So again, it's just a fun way to use up your scraps and create a cute little card. All right, so we're going to put this right over this section. Okay, so that is card number 4. And this is what it looks like on the inside. I just kind of used the same matting on the inside and used up a little bit of my designer paper. Okay, so let me move these out of the way. I just have a couple other cards I'm just going to show you. I'll put these other card ideas and all the dimensions and stuff. I'll put them out on my blog. Let me get, these are the cards that I just showed you how to make. So the little Santas and the Santa belts. So let's see if I can get those in there. There we go. And then, so the next thing I did is I just kind of played around with some other ideas. So here's another idea for you. It's kind of similar to this, except for instead of running my piece that direction, I ran it across the card. So just another simple idea. And I cut out this little image here. I cut that out by hand. And that's how I decorated the inside. So just another little card idea for you. And then this one, another little rustic style, very similar to the rustic style there. Just a little different pieces that I put on this card. And then on the inside of this one, I just used some designer paper. So there's that one. And then here's another Santa belt idea. So see how I ran it. So the other one I did portrait style, but this one I did landscape style and just kind of ran the belt across and added my little image off to the side. So it's just another fun little idea for you. And then the last little idea, I just went a little bit crazy and stamped Santa all over the back of this white, the background of this white cardstock here, and colored them in. And instead of adding a belt, so like with this card, instead of adding a belt on there, I just added my greeting right on the front. All right, so that just kind of gives you some fun ideas, some fun ways to use the stamp set from this particular kit if you have the kit. If you don't have the kit, you can always substitute something else. So don't be discouraged if you didn't get the kit. You can always use these card layouts with any supplies that you have on hand. So, all right, you guys. So I hope you enjoyed these card ideas. Just to give you the heads up, I'm going to show you here. The next paper pumpkin kit is called From the North Pole. And it is a gift tag kit. But you guys know me, I'm going to take those gift tags and I'm going to probably make them into cards. So I would definitely recommend getting the kit. It looks really super cute. There's also a add-on that you can get. There's some little bags, these little bags that kind of match the cards that we have now. You can get these add-ons now if you wanted these bags. They'll coordinate with the November kit and they coordinate with this month's kit. So just something to keep in mind. If you're not a subscriber, I highly recommend it. I like playing around with the kit every month. Actually, I like playing around with the stamp set in the kit to create just a variety of different card ideas, just to show you how you can use that stamp set. Even when you're done making the kit projects, you can still use that stamp set to create a variety of just really fun cards. So I always like to show you guys how to do that. I like playing around with the cards that come in the kit or whatever the projects are. So it's usually a lot of fun. So I do have, I did link to Paper Pumpkin in the description with this video. So if you want to learn more about Paper Pumpkin and become a subscriber, you can certainly do that. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be happy to answer them. And I'll look through all your comments here after the live. And I'll answer any questions you have. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week. And I will see you again next Sunday with some more fun card ideas. So take care, everybody. Bye.